Hello friends and fashion lovers, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this video. In this video I will show you how to do a pull-on pant for kids. This method of drafting can be applied for an adult pull-on or rope waist pant. To aid with the drafting, I have my pattern paper, I have my pattern master, I have my markers for visibility, I also have my tape rule and my paper scissors. I'm going to start by marking a guideline at the hem of the pant while you take a look at the measurements required for drafting of this pant. I'm going to divide my pattern paper into two, making sure that the front is less than the back by about 2 to 3 inches depending on the size. After that, I'm going to mark my desired length. So you want to subtract at least 1 inch from your desired length. My desired length for this pant is 26 inches, but I'm going to go ahead and mark 25 inches. The 1 inch there is for the elastic waistband. I know a standard waistband is about 1.5 inches or 1.25 inch or thereabouts, but I decided to go with 1 inch because that is for my elastic band. And please note that this waistband is subject to change depending if you're making a paper waist pant or any other design. So now I am going to place the knee length. So mark the knee level, and then the next measurement to place is the crouch. You can place the hip level, but I like to just go ahead and place the crouch. You can do that by sitting on a hard surface and taking that measurement from your waist to the hard surface, or you could use hip measurement divided by 4. The hip measurement I'm working with is 26 inches, so 26 divided by 4, I have 6.5. So I'm placing the 6.5. So from my new waistline that I took one away, I am placing my 6.5. Please note that I am working with a standard measurement for a 6-year-old. So after marking the crouch level, I am going to go ahead and put the quarter of the hip measurement. On that crouch line, I'm going to mark a quarter of the hip measurement and also marking same at the waist line. It's a pull-on pant, so it will require elastic, so you just need to use the same measurement that you have on your hip at the waist. Next is to find my crouch extension. So I'm dividing this quarter of the hip measurement by 4. You can as well divide the round hip measurement by 16. But I like to mark quarter of the round hip measurement and divide that quarter of the round hip measurement by 4. And for my size, it's 1.6 inches. So next is to find the crease line. So just divide that crouch extension plus the hip measurements by 2. When you find the midpoint right there, that is your crease line. Because you want your trouser to be properly aligned, you don't want it shifting to the back or to the side. So this just gives the trouser nice definition, and if you are to iron, you would have that nice straight line in front. On this crease line is where I'm going to place my other measurements. So starting with the knee measurement, so you want to put half of the round knee. but you're not just placing half of the round knee directly. You are going to divide it and place it on both sides of this line. So like my desired round knee measurement is 12, so I decided to divide that 12 by 2, because you have one for the front and one for the back. That's why it's divided by 2. And I have 6, so that's 6. I decide to place 3 inches on both sides of this line. And I'm repeating the same for the ankle. So the ankle measurement I'm working with, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm placing the measurements equally on both sides of the ankle line, and I'm going to go ahead and connect that nicely. So after connecting it, it's time for me to curve my crouch point. So I just take the measurement that I have for my crouch extension and I mark the same along this crouch to waist line. So you can mark 1 inch at an angle, and that will aid with the connection. I had 1.6 inches and I also mark 1.6 inches along, and I connect. As simple as that. And the front pattern is ready. So if I was making a wide leg pant, so I will just take the measurement I have on the crouch line and put it on the ankle line, and that is the same measurement I'll also have on the knee line, and I will connect it with a straight line. That is how I would make a wide leg pant or a palazzo pant using this pattern. Most times I won't even have to cut the side piece that connects the back and the front. I won't have to separate it. I could use it as a one piece. So that being said, it's time to draft the back pattern. So for the back pattern, remember that we did not add any ease to the front of the pattern. So the back block, now we are going to add your ease to the back block. So it's time to place 1/4 of the hip measurement plus 2 inches of ease. Yes, you're adding up to 2 inches because you want this to be slightly comfortable, if not a lot comfortable. And you're marking the same on the waistline, 1/4 of the round hip measurement plus 2 inches of ease. Do well to square that line. For the crouch line extension, just divide this 1/4 of the hip plus ease by 4, just the same way you did for the front. So mine, I have 2 inches. So for the back, it's just basically repeating all the steps that you did for the front, but this time with ease. You add 2 inches of ease. So mark your crease line, that is the center of that crouch measurements plus the crouch extension. So after marking that, go ahead and add 2 inches to your knee circumference and add 2 inches to your ankle circumference. Whatever you had used for the front, add 2 inches to that and use at the back. So after connecting the line, you can see our pants is taking shape. So it's time to raise the side of the pant, I like to raise it by about 1/4 inch. I normally correct it, add the 1/4 inch to the inseam, but that would be in advanced class, but let's just keep this simple at this point. So it's time to contour the waistline. Leaving the waistline like this is okay, but trust me, contouring is the best. It fits better. You don't have that excess at the back. So measure your front crouch extension. Mine is 1.6 inches and go in by that. So whatever you had as your front crouch extension, go in at your waistline with that figure, and also raise the waistline by that figure as well. So I went in by 1.6 inches and I'm raising it by 1.6 inches. Now it's time to connect, but first of all we need to make that curve. So just the same way that you place the curve for the front, place it for the back. That is marking the same figure of the extension on the line and connecting it. So you can go ahead and mark 1 inch outward and you connect the point. This 1 inch you are marking at a 45-degree angle. So make sure halfway between this line, 45 degrees, you mark your 1 inch and connect. So connecting from that marked point to the upper part, you can use a stretch ruler to connect from that marked point to your new waistline, or you can use a slight curve to connect. It's basically the same. Whether you use a slight curve or you decide to keep it straight, the most important thing is you want to blend it in at the end. So it really doesn't matter. Now it's time to connect the waistline. So if you pivot your tape from that waistline to your new waistline that you have also raised by the side, you should have whatever you had as your front waistline plus about 1/2 inch. It shouldn't be more than about 1/2 inch. That way you know everything is going to be nicely fitted. So for the front, I like to give it a slight curve, and this curve only stops at about the midpoint of the front waist, so it doesn't get to the end. So you want it slightly curved so that it can blend nicely. You can use a ruler and make it straight, it really doesn't matter. And once again, if I was making a wide leg pant, I would keep my back block straight as well, so that way I would have more room. So it's time for the waistband. So initially, remember that I had taken away 1 inch from the desired length. So now it's time for you to double that 1 inch. Why do you have to double the 1 inch? If you take away 1 inch to properly cover your elastic band, you would have to double it by folding it over and even adding about 1/2 inch to conceal your raw edges, or 1/4 inch if you are using a bias tape, because I like using bias tape to reduce bulk there. So I am marking 2 1/4 inch. So that is my waist band. You would use more if you are making a paperback waist pant. Just depending on your preference, you can detach this waistband. That's why I like drafting it like this, because I can decide to sew the waistband separately into my trouser. I can pick another fabric. I can use a contrasting color for my waistband when using this pattern. So go ahead and confirm that it's exactly what you want. So with this, the pattern is pretty much complete. You will need about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch to stitch this pattern together. So you can go ahead and add your seaming allowance and keep this pattern safe, because I will be using it a lot, and I'm going to modify it into a short, a palazzo, a regular pants, whatever that calls for a pull-on pants for kids pattern, even for an adult. This will be the pattern we will use. And also, if this tutorial is helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and share, and most especially subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you. Bye for now.